Hello everyone and welcome back to Your Opinion is Shit. I'm ooky spooky in the dark today, cause it's rainy out. Wow. So, welcome back to Your Opinion is Shit, the monthly installment where I ask my patrons what their opinions are and I tell them if they're shit or not. If you too want an opinion that matters to me, which is really the only thing that should matter to you in this world, in this planet, in this life, you can follow the link in the description below to my Patreon. $5 or more a month nets you an opinion. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The question this month was, what is the worst viral horror game? So, we didn't get as many answers this month, but the ones that were very long, so bear with me. First for Davcav. With hindsight, the first Bendy game was something that kind of damaged the mascot horror genre. While it has some redeeming qualities like the atmosphere and some designs, it leaned too much onto being a product YouTube lets players to react to, complete with hidden lore. The game is the equivalent of a funhouse made up of mainly fetch quests, jank combat sections, and even jankier stealth sections. Seriously, in the third chapter with the projectionist, you can literally just walk behind him for the whole thing without him noticing. But the game itself is middling to say the least. The problem is that it pioneered other developers to do the same format. Chapter games made later that you don't have to play. You can watch someone else do it for you while the creators want you to buy their merch. Anyway, how's playing Ban going? Well, I finished Ban, thank God, which, yeah, obviously Ban took direct inspiration from Bendy in a lot of ways, like its release schedule, like its hidden lore, quote unquote. I have a lot of things to say about Bendy because Bendy was pretty formative for my channel in general, and just a lot of my indie gaming. My Bendy is like Dragon's FNAF, in a way, but I have a lot of opinions on Bendy, and what you said is very, very correct. I believe the first two chapters, maybe even a little bit of chapter 3 is alright, but then at that point they realized their audience was children, and they leaned way too hard into pandering for those children who weren't actually playing the game, but watching other YouTubers play it, and hoping that those children would buy their merch, which they did in droves. Oh my god, it's insane. But yes, Bendy is hard for me because it had such potential to be a really good game, and then it fucked itself royally and hard, and it is infuriating to me. So, Your Opinion is not shit. For Greyman, this bird ruined me. I haven't actually played Garden of Banban, but I get secondhand embarrassment just looking at it. Well, Greyman, I think I remember you being there for some of my streams. And listen, don't knock Opila Bird, okay? Opila Bird is the only good thing about Banban, alright? Otherwise, Banban sucks balls! For anybody who doesn't know, I recently streamed every single Banban game Dragon and I did together. So you can go look up those streams, and you can see our opinions formulating live, and all the thoughts we have about how awful Banban is, spread over the course of like 12 hours of content. So have fun with that. Greyman's opinion is also not shit. For Madam, Poppy Playtime is a boring cookie-cutter example of exactly the kind of game Davcav is describing, and on top of that, there's the crap that Mob Games has done in the background. It just leaves a bad taste from start to finish, honestly. Yeah, so Poppy Playtime, from what I'm aware of and from what I've seen, I haven't paid a whole ton of attention to it past chapter 1 because I don't want to support people like this, but from what I have seen, it is a product designed specifically to appeal to children. It is designed from the ground up to sell things. All of its ideas are copying other better games, pretty much. And Mob Games themselves were from an animation YouTube channel that, again, specifically catered to children, which is not great, and I don't like that. And yeah, Mob Games has done a bunch of shit. You can look it up. You can find the receipts. I'm not going to go into it here. But yeah, no. I have a feeling that we're not going to get many shit opinions this time around. And Madam is correct. Magil of Shadows. I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but FNAF in general doesn't so much perplex me, but irritate me in terms of its popularity. I'm not a fan of jump scare brain horror to begin with, and while the concept of lone security guard required to deal with glitchy mascots has the potential to work, it forming into what it became just further solidified my utter disinterest. Furthermore, I had to endure a roommate's daughter, 8 years old, mind you, get utterly hooked onto the franchise and invoke it constantly in those fleeting of ways, since this was the early days of FNAF, so the lore was only so deep. So I have some mixed opinions on FNAF. I used to genuinely be in your boat, pretty much. The only FNAF content I consumed was through MatPat making crazy theories on it. Dragon, on the other hand, is a genuinely enormous big FNAF fan, so I ended up having to play most of the FNAF games and hear a lot about FNAF. And my opinion on it has definitely softened, at least for the early stuff. I think games 1 through 4 are generally pretty decent games. My favorite FNAF game is actually FNAF 3, which I know is a really, like, not typical pick. And I genuinely think everything from 1 to 3, or 1 to 4 is pretty decent, all things considered. After that, Scott leaned out of the fantasy and supernatural world and into the sci-fi world, which doesn't do anything for me. And now the franchise has been taken in an utterly different direction by utterly different companies and has genuinely kind of fallen to shit. So I also think the idea of animatronic robots has been way overplayed at this point now. I don't think there's much more you can do with it, and yet people keep trying to do stuff with it anyway. So I don't think your opinion is necessarily wrong, but again, it kind of started the trend of mascot horror aimed at children, if inadvertently, which is not great. It is pretty reliant on jump scares as well. I think you underestimate its atmosphere. I think the jump scares work because the atmospheric buildup is good enough to support them, but that's not a style that's for everyone, for sure. And finally, for Windy Fields, gonna go with Slender the 8 Pages because that was objectively a pretty bad game at the time, but it was new enough that no one realized it. It's probably one of the primary reasons the whole YouTubers overreacting to jump scares thing got so common. Yeah, so if FNAF is kind of the start of mascot horror and horror media aimed at children, Slender the 8 Pages is kind of the start of the YouTuber Let's Play scene. As someone who started off my journey through horror games by primarily watching YouTubers Let's Play them, I don't necessarily think this trend is as bad as the mascot horror trend. I mean, I started from watching YouTubers and now I mostly play the games myself. So I think it was a good evolution to get me started when I was a kid that didn't really have a lot of access to a lot of technology that would enable me to really play horror games, because I was watching YouTubers on my shitty 2007 MacBook my mom got on a school sale. I definitely agree with you that Slender the 8 Pages is not really a very good game at all. It's pretty bad. It's pretty basic, and it doesn't really have much going for it, really. So your opinion is also not shit. So that is our opinions for this time around. Thank you, everybody, for submitting your responses, and we had a lot to say about this one. So I hope, genuinely, to see you all next month. And thank you for joining me. Goodbye. Have a good day. Farewell.
Special thanks goes out to my Priests of the Hog and my Elder Hog Prophets, Aedra, Chronoton, Eshok7, Greyman, Jonathan Hummel, Casey and Moore, Major of the Shadows, Ventus Agri, and Xavier Pena. Thanks a bunch, guys.